This is our first day exploring the Channel Islands on the National Geographic Seabird. We are out here on Anacapa Island, 14 miles from the mainland. This is a place that is very important to me because it's where I work as an actual research scientist studying the nesting populations of western gulls on this island. Anacapa Island is part of the Channel Islands National Park. Thousands of years ago, it was believed to be a stopover site for the Chumash, where they would use it as a trade stop. And on this island, we will be hiking around the island where we can look at the seabird nesting habitat, admire the amazing views from these cliffs, look at the vegetation, and look at the old structures from the lighthouse that was built here in 1932. We ended up here at Inspiration Point, where you can see the rest of the islets. We are currently on East Anacapa Island, and you can see here Middle and West Anacapa, islets of Anacapa Island that are all connected underwater, but you can't actually access them through land. You have to actually access each one by boat.
Clean air, you can watch the birds fly and cruise along the cliffs, the lights coming through the clouds. It's really beautiful.
It's spectacular.
I think it's spectacular, yeah.
This is our first morning of our expedition. We've come over to Santa Cruz and we were awarded the incredible opportunity to have a large group of common dolphins. So these common dolphins, they're a smaller dolphin, but they're very widespread in this part of the world, and they were focused mostly on feeding. They work in these large shoals, sometimes up to 1,000 or more, corralling schools of fish. It might be a number of different individual pods that all come together to more effectively feed on these schooling fish, making their efforts much more efficient.
It's such a musical ballet that they play just below the surface, and it's really stunning. Like this mesmerizing movie going on for you with dolphins all at once, crisscrossing and moving in and out. And that's probably the most beautiful thing I've seen in a long time. Fantastic.
And we had a few California sea lions that showed up in amongst them that were following along and doing the same kind of activity. Well, we're blessed this morning with the weather cooperating now and the wildlife. Very few times you get this kind of experience the very first morning of a trip, so this has all come together and we're really enjoying this first day of our voyage to the Channel Islands.
The partnership between National Geographic and Lindblad is really just a marriage made in heaven. Our missions are so aligned to protecting and sharing the wonders of the natural world.
I noticed a lot of the Nat Geo.
And this trip to the Channel Islands has been a perfect example of how this partnership works.
Have enjoyed this area immensely because it is unique and it's spectacularly beautiful. And we decided to come to the Channel Islands because my wife has not been to Catalina before. And just a marvelous day out in the sunshine.
This is truly a special place, so close to a metropolitan like Los Angeles. And so few people get to experience the park like we are on a live-aboard, comfortable ship. So to actually be able to share it with guests, you can feel it's pretty dense.
So it's
like a stone. It's calcium, yep. And be knowledgeable about a place that I'm so passionate about. It's the best. It's the best job in the world. This is the Channel Islands. You can imagine just kayaking and hiking. I mean, you could spend a lifetime out here and not see half of this.
This is our first day exploring the Channel Islands, and you can see we're here on Anacapa Island, an island that is part of the Channel Islands National Park. We are 14 miles away from the mainland, and it's amazing to see how just a short distance away from a bustling city, we can find this amazing natural area.
I've really been here. This is a popular spot, yeah. Holy
What we call the front side of the island, so the one facing the mainland, the north side of the island, is actually protected. There is no fishing allowed. But on the back side, fishing is allowed. So you see this really big difference in the wildlife that you can find, especially underwater in this island.
This is absolutely gorgeous, and we had no idea what this part of California looked like, and you hear about it all the time, but you don't know what it looks like. So this is a real treat for us to see, but it is absolutely gorgeous and desolate.
Inspiration Point is the westernmost tip of East Anacapa, where we've been hiking. And from Inspiration Point, you can see out to Middle Anacapa and West Anacapa, the two other islets that make up the entire Anacapa Island. It's amazing to see all these islands in a chain that looks strikingly like a dragon's back. This has been an amazing day to start off our voyage in the Channel Islands National Park.
So we have arrived here on East Anacapa. We've set foot in the northern Channel Islands, which is all a part of the Channel Islands National Park. Channel Islands National Park encompasses 5 of the 9 islands that make up the Channel Islands. As we hike along this really narrow strip of volcanic landscape, we can see some of the other northern Channel Islands, and we can even still see the mainland from here in East Anacapa. We're so close, and yet we're so far away. This land has been isolated from mainland North America for millions of years, and so all of the plants and animals that find a home here are very uniquely adapted to this space. And here on Anacapa, it really tells the story of isolation, of how plants and animals and even people historically have found a way to survive and thrive in a really challenging environment.
Just had a wonderful walk, seeing birds and wildlife and just beautiful desert flowers. And we've seen osprey and eagles and things like that. And it's a Pacific adventure, so couldn't be much better. Just spectacular.
Catalina Island is the largest of the southern Channel Islands. It's about 8 miles wide and 22 miles long. And of that land, 88% is owned by the Catalina Island Conservancy. Of the 1 million people that visit Catalina every single year, a very small percentage are able to get to Little Harbor and explore what Catalina's natural habitat really looks like. So right now, we're in an area that's totally protected. We're seeing some really interesting native species. They're working incredibly hard here to bring back those species after an era of ranching. We see things like the prickly pear cactus, coastal sagebrush, Catalina Island manzanita, and the Catalina Island fox.
Well, you know, this is such a beautiful spot, and we're so lucky to have wonderful weather today. I'm just impressed at the ability of people to get out and go on these kayaks out into the open ocean. We just couldn't ask for a nicer day.
No, the weather's beautiful. The seas are like glass right now, which really enhances the experience. But seeing all the wildlife and pristine area that the Conservancy has maintained here has been wonderful.
So we are really lucky to get an opportunity to explore this side of Catalina Island, the back side, the windward side.